Travis Hunter is the winner of the Heisman Trophy Award. I have plenty of thoughts, and I'm recording live on a Saturday night on this episode of the Scho-Zone. All right, everybody, welcome to the Scho-Zone. I am your host, Ryan Schofield, coming at you live on a Saturday night in the DeGen. This is something new I'm trying out. I just got done with some things. I got a lot of energy going, and I had some thoughts to share, and I just figured, fuck it, let's let it rip, see who wants to listen. So everybody, thank you for tuning in. Like, subscribe, comment, share, all of that douchebag stuff that podcast hosts like myself say. I don't have a guest coming on tonight, so for you, I say we're not going to spit on it. We're not going to lube it up. We're just going to jam it right in there. I'm going right into Travis Hunter winning the Heisman Trophy Award, and deservingly so, winning the Heisman Trophy. If you wanted it to be Ashton Jeanty, you could not go wrong with either of them. But I will say that given what Travis Hunter accomplished as a full-time offensive and defensive player and being the best on both sides of the ball on his team, I think that it was, he's a worthy, for getting that one. If Jeanty had got it, I would not have minded it. Again, I'm not going to get into the whole level of competition thing or whatever, but it's not a bad thing when Travis Hunter is winning the Heisman Trophy. I mean, it's not that he wasn't less deserving, but the reason I got my attention on this one is that while this is going to sound very talking out of both sides of my mouth, I guess I would say, is that Travis Hunter did deserve to win the Heisman Trophy, but I also hate the fucking Heisman Trophy. And you want to know why? I got notified by ESPN. This is exactly the way that they worded this to me. Where do we got it right here? Colorado's Travis Hunter wins Heisman Trophy, joins Charles Woodson as the only full-time defensive players to win. And this is the problem I have with football. This is a problem I have maybe just with sports in general. I don't know why it is the way I am. Maybe it's because I just like to be different. Maybe it's because when I played sports, I tended to excel at defense more so than offense. But the idea that this is only the second time that the Heisman Trophy goes to the best player in college football, or well, let's look at how it's worded here. It is put down as to the top player in college football. And you mean to tell me that only two times in however long they've been giving out this award for, that it's been a defensive player? That's the only two times it was. And it just so happened that those guys that played defense full-time also returned kicks or played wide receiver on the side as well too. That's the only two times it is. That's why I have a problem with the award. Now, again, I like that this is the first time I can remember in God knows how long, and I have the list of finalists up here right now, but this is the first time I can remember it wasn't just the best quarterback on the best team, which is how the award typically goes. Last year with Jaden Daniels winning it, I think it was just he had all the stats there. I mean, Stetson Bennett, did he win it? I'm pretty sure he did, yeah. When Stetson Bennett wins it, not a problem here. But I'm just looking back in the last couple of years here, and I mean, wow, that was a really, really weak year when we had. But, I mean, Aiden Hutchinson's the last defensive finalist. I'm looking through here to find any times Chase Young was a finalist before. Now, these aren't the years I'm talking about. One year in particular really, really stands out to me. This was, I believe Sam Bradford won it. But Ndamukong Suh not winning the Heisman Trophy to me was always just, if you watched, his stats weren't even like that crazy impressive. He had 12 sacks, but if you watched, and he wasn't even a finalist that year. It was Sam Bradford was a finalist with freaking Tim Tebow that year and Colt McCoy. He wasn't even a finalist that year. I will tell you that watching that year, Ndamukong Suh was the best player in college football. He almost single-handedly won the Big 12 championship. Literally had to be triple teamed. And we got 20 people in the live stream here. So everybody, thank you for tuning in. Thank you for listening. Again, drop a comment, subscribe, like, all that bullshit. Like I said, douchebag stuff that podcast hosts like myself say. But thank you for joining in and listening for me for the last couple minutes here. I mean, it's just hard for me to believe. I mean, that was one that definitely, I thought that Ndamukong Suh was the best player. I mean, one year in particular, and again, I understood, I forget who it ended up going to, but Honey Badger, the one year, he was a playmaking machine out there where it's like, yeah, like, I mean, it just for such a long time became you're the best quarterback on the best team. Randomly in there, RG3 won it. Who was involved in that year? I remember that being a weird year. I think that RG3 lost like 4 games. But, I mean, Geno Smith was always a good Heisman favorite until the weather turned cold. That was always a favorite of mine. But this is what I get for doing the multitasking here. A list of the finalists here. Yeah, it was just nothing but quarterbacks or Alabama running backs that felt like there for a while. But I mean, very, very minimal number of defensive players ever even invited to on there. Like, not even the one that might even in the top 5 of best players out there. But yet, when they go to the NFL, they're just such a big impact player. I mean, again, football, I mean, the stats, that's why I just can't trust the stats as much, is that you do have to watch a little bit and just see for who was the best with your own eyes on there. Again, Travis Hunter, I don't know what it holds. I mean, from what I understand, he might not even be like, in college, he's an amazing corner and wide receiver. But again, I don't know with the level of competition in the Big 12, what they're playing in right now. Again, I'm an old man. I forget who plays in what conference to me. It's all just one. It's basically minor league football now at this point. It's not college football to me anymore. The playoff, you know, me and my buddy were just texting on there. I'm sure that the playoffs going to grow because any time we can find a way to give more money. I mean, that's a simple phone call if you want to grow the college football playoff. It's basically the NCAA makes a phone call and it's like, hey, Big Ten and SEC, would you guys like to make a fuck ton more money? And everybody else, you guys can make a little bit more too, but we're mostly going to focus our money in on these groups on there. And of course, we have the first year that we have the college football playoff being when we actually have an undefeated team that should. I mean, if Oregon wins the national title this year, they're one of the most deserving national titles winners I can ever think of. The fact that they are undefeated and then also now would have to go through this bracket, which again, it's good theater. That's what it is. I guess, it's making for a couple more meaningful games, but we're lost out. I mean, bowl games, I was just talking with a friend, like there used to be some really good, exciting, degenerate bowls. But again, this is about the Heisman Trophy. And I think I called it Heisman Trophy as a sham. It just doesn't always go to the best player. And it's certainly, I mean, there's been years that they definitely have gotten it right for sure. Travis Hunter is one of the years they got it right, but I just find it hilarious that they believe to actually say that just reading that in there, that the second time that a full-time defensive player is on there, give it to a defensive player that never touches a football, okay, unless he's making a sack strip. That's when I'll actually believe that. I'm sure we've had some years on there, some pass rushers could have entered the conversation there. I mean, Terrell Suggs, when he was in college, he had some gaudy number of sacks his final year in college. I think that he did pretty well with whatever awards that are going out there. But fuck, he didn't even get drafted as high as he should have been drafted, arguably. And I still think he was a pretty high draft pick, which, by the way, T-Sizzle for the Hall of Fame all day, every day. But I thought I had something good for a little bit of a live rant here. I just didn't feel like going through all the trouble of recording it and uploading it, so I did it on a live stream. And it was actually the first time I did anything live on my Facebook page. So anybody, thank you for that. And then I've got this going on Twitter and on my YouTube page that obviously you're watching. If you're watching this on YouTube, I'm recording some StreamYard. So everybody, thank you for tuning in for this little brief rant, and the video will stay posted up on all the following places. So like, subscribe, comment, share, all that douchebag stuff that podcast hosts say. Peace.